I mean, never mind. I'm not gonna.
All right, we're about to start.
I love inquiry.
I'll fight you. But before we get into the regular bi-weekly meeting, we do have a little bit of a little story to tell. A little spooky story for the spooky season.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna get into that before we start with our regular bi-weekly meeting because I know a couple people are only able to be here for the start. So before we go to our normal programs, we're gonna get that out of the way first, and we're gonna have Panda Express with his sexy voice be telling us the story.
Ooh.
Do we want to send him the spooky music, or do you want to just say?
Oh my God.
Once upon a time, a land called Los Santos.
There's also some non-copyrighted spooky music there in the. If you want to listen to some very quiet spooky music.
All right, are we ready to begin this fairy tale?
Yes.
All right, so happy Halloween, even though that's in like 20 days. So, as kids, we all enjoyed a little scary story that our parents would read to us, especially on Halloween when everything was right and the mood was spooky. We go out trick-or-treating, partly excited for candy and partly terrified for our surroundings. There's a group of people from San Andreas, however, that meddled with evil on a Halloween night. They set out on a camping trip down in the forest near Polito. They took everything they needed, the hamburgers, the water, and some Rogers milk just in case. Maybe some cocaine too. After setting up camp, they sat down and got comfortable, no longer having to worry about pesky criminals, random explosions, and stupid locals. Dark soon hit, followed by an eerie fog that permeated the area. Out of nowhere, they heard laughs from the forest that put them all in a panic, splitting them up into groups of two. Vision Vert and Kobe found a pile of logs to hide behind. Suddenly, Panda Express appeared, blood on his knife, ready to kill. He took Vision Vert out with one stab to the chest and chased down Kobe, eventually pinning them against the tree, slinging their throat and leaving it for the cops to find. Positive Soul Man and OMG WTF names taken ran far, all the way to the beach in Polito. They took shelter in a small abandoned house, locking themselves in a room. Oblixion, drugged on cocaine, then came flying through the locked door, looking like a maniac. He took out his carbine rifle Mark II and killed both Positive Soul Man and OMG WTF names taken, laughing the entire time. Myers and Alex took the car back into the city, all the while being chased by Monkey Man Jordy. They turned into SS, hoping to hide from the Monkey Marauder. Jordy didn't like that though. Before they could react, he jumped from the ceiling, clawing and killing Myers, allowing Alex to try and run. Jordy, hungry for blood, followed Alex onto the outside steps of SS, backing Alex into the railing. He pleaded for help, but tripped and fell over the railing, falling and dying on impact. Jordy was pleased with his work and proceeded back to working in SS. 14_links and BT never found a place to hide. Their only option was to keep running until they hit a dead end. A helicopter landed, seeming to save them from their trials and tribulations. Inside, they found Mr. Red Dragon Knight, telling them to get aside, the city clearly in danger. They flew high above San Andreas. Everything was safe. Not for long, however, since Inquiry and his mafia buddies popped out from their hiding spots in the back, executing both BT and 14_links on sight. The last thing they heard was Inquiry and Red Dragon Knight exchanging money as they bled out, never to be seen again. Our last two people, Mr. Big Lex and Owen Wicker, escaped from the danger. They were able to find shelter from the killers and live to see another day. A month later, they met up at Tequila Law to talk about their loss of the friends, who still to this day have never been found. On their way out, Owen went to open his car. It made it sound like it was unlocked, but it would not budge. Big Lex couldn't open his car either. As if a force took hold of them, they became stuck in place, unable to move their arms or legs. Clearly, death was out to get them. Jay appeared in the sky, and so did the other killers on the ground. They watched and smiled as Jay picked at his toys, and Owen W and Big Lex disappeared into oblivion. It is said in legend that all these killers were cursed by a spell from Summer, who still roams to this day somewhere in San Andreas.
That was beautiful.
All right,
Oh my.
so
I have a
if you guys
question.
couldn't, yeah, go ahead, Smear.
So where's the trilogy for this?
Coming
don't know.
soon
I
to
wrote
theaters
it.
near you.
Oh,
I wrote
okay,
it, but I didn't think it was gonna be a
Hey, Panda,
trilogy.
can you like send that to me? We're gonna post that on the EGO bookstore. It's gonna be
Yeah.
available for everyone to buy.
$20. audio file pre-recorded for $50. All right, so as you guys know, we kicked the people who died because they got murdered, but luckily for all of them, they were all promoted to the next ranked. So can we congratulate Mr. Visionvert, Kobe, Myers, Positive Soul Man, Alex, BT, ONW, Lex, and Lynx to getting G's, and then congratulate Mr. Lance Vance, or OMG WTF names taken, to get his O tag today. Pog.
It's actually Myers' birthday, so you better say happy birthday to him too.
I know a couple people were only able to make it for the start, and that's why we did it right at the start. So I know I told a lot of these people to be here, and they had no idea why. But that is the reason why I was so determined to get you here.
If you guys
Congrats.
were promoted, please stay after the meeting, as I can need to talk to you guys. But congratulations to all of you. Big Pog. Poggers. Pog.
Og.
Poggers.
All right,
Poggers.
and now we'll go on to our regular, our regular programming. So if anyone has any questions, concerns, ideas, the floor is open now.
I'll be making a trilogy for this story in the
Hi, I'm
future.
Oh yeah, by the way, BT wrote the entire story. Credit to him.
Oh yeah,
Good
credit to
job.
BT. You the homie, man.
Yeah, Ink messaged me and asked to make a scary story because I got my promotion early because I switched to Overwatch. So he asked me
Dang.
to do it.
Yeah, we were gonna promote him, but he tried to leave, so we wouldn't let him go without his promotion. But we are now open. The floor is open. So
Hello. Everybody hear me?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay, splendid.
Hello.
Hello, friends. Okay, so I have a idea/suggestion, and I'm looking for opinions. I'm sure everybody's going to agree with me. I've recently got some of my friends from my college to join the server with me, and we've kind of just I've been teaching them what to do. And I've noticed a lack of what we used to have 3 years ago when I joined, was a guide to join. When you joined, without looking at the forums, we had some kind of like thing when you loaded in, and explain what to do, what was going on, and like how to interact with people, maybe even like a small guide. But like what I was thinking, that maybe if we had a bigger guide besides what's in game, there is nothing in game currently, but something to explain to them what they should be doing. Because like people join our server a lot of times, like as admins, we find them being unrealistic in the city. We find them, doing stuff that just, it's garbage RP, and we kind of blame it on them. But maybe there's another way to look at it, that if we did more explaining it to them before they did it, that they wouldn't do it. That's kind of where I am with it. And like, I mean, I've talked to Duck about it. We've kind of discussed making a guide, or maybe even making tutorial videos on it. I just want to see what everybody else thinks of that, because I do think there's a bit of a lack of, when somebody joins, what to do. And not just that, even for the legal jobs, like I don't think there's really a good explanation of how they do it, how they do the grind. But yeah.
So more so a getting started guide that people could access on the forum somewhere.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then and then a separate guide for jobs if they wanted to check out how to do the jobs.
What I'm thinking about, maybe something in game that can, like, when they first spawn in, it could direct them and say, this is your basics. Get a cell phone, get your driver's license, that stuff. That's where you get it, and then say go to the forums to find out how to get started. And we link them directly to a forum, or even tells them they sign up as an E, because like there's nothing in game besides their auto broadcast that tells them to sign up on the forums to apply for waitlisted jobs. So like maybe something like that, and then we have a lot of we have some streamers, we have some people that do YouTube videos on our server. Like get those guys start making tutorials for the jobs, and it would just go from there. I think that'd be a really good way to do it, and it also help the RP.
Yeah, it's definitely something we could get made up.
I still have the old one. Let me have a look. Hold on.
I know. We used to have. I know a lot of the jobs are completely different now, but we used to have some job guides as well.
There's so
Yeah.
much stuff in my Google Drive. Hold on, let me have a look.
I have a
Rest in
suggestion about
peace, the
that,
old forms.
but I don't know if this is the same way. So when I was in CS, you could like type a command, like I think it might have been exclamation point rules. Jeez, I can't talk. And it would like come up with like a link. Is that something that you could like implement into FiveM, like exclamation point rules, and then a link would come up, and with like the thread with the rules?
You type in /rules and it'll display all the rules for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that
Well,
existed.
We also still have to direct people to that, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. I want I've joined other servers just as educational purposes because all other servers are trash compared to us, EGOP. But I've joined other servers where like I spawn in and there's this big thing in front of me explaining exactly what to do to get started. Here, go here to find out more information. I mean, I think that's really beneficial for what we do.
Yeah, it's definitely something to take into account. It doesn't have to be too extensive to the point that it just takes away from RP, but to the point where people know how to get started, at least to then get into the RP.
Exactly, and that's what I was thinking because like right now there really isn't. Like I literally baby these people today to explain to them how to do stuff, how to get money without doing illegal jobs, and I was just like dead inside. Because like it's for me, it's second nature. As soon as a new plugin comes to the server, I learn it. Somebody else tells me, I go do it, whatever. I learn it that way. But for these guys who've never played before, it's not as easy as that. Like this guy got pulled over today. He was in a stolen car. He was like, "But how do I get a car?" And I was like, "Oh, well, for me, it's just because I know the cars are on the map. That's always meant go buy a car. But for him, it doesn't mean that, right?"
I guess like for me too, maybe for other people, like when I started FiveM, it was the first time I even played GTA in the first place. So I had like Architect literally teach me the ins and outs of GTA before I could even like get into like the actual role play. So I feel like that's a good suggestion.
I agree. Having certain people teach me when I first arrived was pretty nice.
I just found this one somebody shared with me. It says, "Welcome to EGO FiveM. It was last modified in 2020. This is probably an up-to-date version." See it. Who the hell shared this with me? Somebody did. Phyllis B.
Lance, if you're trying to talk, your mic's not working.
My bad. No, I wasn't trying to talk.
But yeah, that's all I have to say in terms of what I would like to see. Maybe a more in-depth way to find it in game, like when you first log in, to direct people to our forums, get those people signed up, get that kind of traffic going, and then maybe we'd have more ease. Like I've seen people like looking for whitelisted jobs that don't even have e tags. Like you see people playing regularly right now that don't even have e tags. I remember back like a couple even like last year, maybe the year before, like people couldn't really do anything with an e tag, and it always directed more traffic to the forums. So maybe like something like that. That is all. Thank you, everyone.
All right, I know some of you got some questions and some ideas that you mentioned before, so don't be scared. You can step up, take the floor.
Okay. So I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I feel like this is all I talk about now. But I really just want to like knock the whole point home with the black market vehicles. So I made a post a few weeks ago that has a shit ton of replies. I'm sure a lot of people in here have seen it regarding the black market vehicles. Now, the reason I made that post because obviously I want to go around drive the black market vehicles, right? But also the guidelines because of like to not use black market vehicles are kind of dumb. So I don't know who made the rule. I don't know if it was a DOJ or it was a leadership from an OOC standpoint. However, let's say it was the DOJ and they're making a rule about the black market vehicle. They don't know about that. How are they making a rule about something when they don't know about it? Not in character, at least.
Can I comment on it?
Mm-hmm.
So, laws, like they obviously don't know who has, black market cars and this and that. But I mean, it would not be rocket science, even though cops might not know about the blacklisted vehicles or the dealership or wherever it is. It's not rocket science that there's going to be some cars out there that are illegal and that are not roadworthy and that have accessories and upgrades that are not meant for a common drive. So even though they don't know about those specific cars, they're setting a general law for armored vehicle. So I'm not saying that the law is written properly, but I'm just explaining how they would know about that in character. If they don't know about the car specifically, they just know it's a law. Like in real life, if you look at your own laws for your own state or province, wherever you are in the world, they're going to say, oh, no driving this specific, there's certain accessories that are illegal, not because they know you have it, just because it's a general law.
Mm-hmm. But mine was like the timing of it. So like everybody started talking about the black market vehicles, and then the law gets made like immediately after that. And the only reason I could see the law being made was because RDK was in a military vehicle not 2 nights before. I'm like, all right, that's all well and good. But then they say armored vehicles, okay? So if you guys go and you look at the vehicles in the server, or you go and look at like the wiki where it is showing like these black market vehicles, which is as they're called, they'll have armored paneling on the side, which is just a cosmetic thing and actually doesn't do anything in a gameplay sense. And they also have bullet resistant glass, right? So I don't understand why we need to make those types of vehicles that only can benefit legal civilians or people, let's say they're not illegal, but it wouldn't benefit criminals in a sense. Why do we need to make those illegal when we can make cars like the ramp car, like cars with any kind of gun on it, anything to do damage to limb property or whatever that definition is in the law? Why don't we make it based off that and not off the protection sense of the vehicle?
Well, I mean, if the civilians can't get them legally, which they can't currently, then I mean you can't obtain it legally.
Yeah,
so
but the DOJ isn't aware of that. No one knows. No one in this room knows in character other than Ink, myself, Billy, maybe Rico, and Illusion knows how they get those things. So the way everybody else should understand it in character is the only way you can get this is maybe by talking to some kind of like PDM special deal thing, or like another dealer that is completely legal, or maybe even getting aftermarket upgrades, which they could definitely make an argument for. But no one should be thinking it's like, obviously these civilians went and bought these vehicles illegally with black money or clean money off of the somewhat kind of black markets. No one knows that in character.
But I mean, just because people, I mean, they can still make laws and add them. If you want a legal way of getting them, then you can make an in character thing about it. Maybe go to court, contest it. I mean, there's lots of things, but I don't think it's a problem if a law bans something that you can't currently legally attain.
Just to contest that, just to add to it, is there a definition of what these vehicles are? Like it says black market vehicles. So is this like a server ban, or is this like a law enforcement?
Law enforcement.
Okay,
I'm just going to point out that saying you're banning black market vehicles is literally saying illegal vehicles are illegal.
Yeah. Something I want to add real quick. The armor padding on the vehicles does actually affect how much armor the vehicle does take for damage. For example, if you look at the wiki, an armored vehicle, for example, will take 2 rocket launcher bullets rather than 1. That's just something I need to throw out there.
So, Doc,
Mm-hmm.
could you just give me the main point that you're going with this? So you want it to be based off of RP? I'm a little confused what you're
Okay. The way I want
for.
the law to be written is it's based off of if the vehicle has a weapon or some kind of object that can kill you. I don't see a sense of a vehicle that has bullet-resistant glass and maybe some more armor plating. I was not aware of that, Moe. But bullet-resistant glass can only benefit people who are the victim of a crime, not someone who's causing a crime. Because you need to remember, the second you shoot from the vehicle that is armored or that is like has the bullet-resistant vehicles, so I'm speaking about the shafter, the baller, the long limo type vehicle. It doesn't have steel plating; it just has normal bullet-resistant glass. The second you shoot from it, it breaks. That cannot benefit criminals. It'll only benefit a victim of a crime. Let's say some dude, let's say Lance, is going like driving to work one day and he gets ambushed by a bunch of gangsters and he's in his quote unquote black market vehicle that has armored plating and bullet resistant glass. He's safe in there for at least 11 shots to each panel. So I specifically want the rule to state that the only reason it would be illegal is if that vehicle can cause harm to someone. So we're talking about guns on the vehicle. We're talking about spikes, saws, some kind of ram bar that could do damage to limb or property, or some like maybe even like a boat thing, a boat engine on the back. Like I would consider these things illegal, Duke of Death, but I wouldn't consider something I would consider as a PPV as illegal, which is the shafter or the baller.
So, if I recall, back when the cars were added, like the black market cars, there was a rule regarding them, but no weapons. I'm not sure if that rule is actually still in effect at leadership.
Well, of course it is. If you shoot and kill somebody.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, adding a gun to your car either way is breaking the rules then.
So basically, you're saying that there should be specific rules for specific vehicles with certain attachments.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. To me, it seems like if people want to contest it, then there can be more RP brought in character through. I think making the law to be that specific is not beneficial when there are no legal ways of getting the vehicle.
Another way people could go about it is, I know there are currently 2 dealerships, and it's not out of the realm to say that one of these 2 dealerships requests those personal protection to sell those PPVs, the ones that aren't technically illegal because they're just armor plating and resistant windows. The dealerships, you could go to them and say, hey, any chance that you guys could look into maybe getting these on your list? Because they don't technically follow under illegal. The only reason they're defined under that law is because they are not purchased
from an official
dealership. Gotcha. But no one has gone to either of the dealerships yet to see if they can even.
You really need to add license to that law, because otherwise I could say I'm a dealership if I get the approval from the government. The definition of a dealership just
it says official.
Wide open. Yeah, official means of a dealership
by the government.
A licensed.
Either way, I'll
right now, but
I will pursue. Go ahead.
No, that's literally what I was going to say. Go ahead.
I will pursue like getting this changed through any means necessary. I just want to make sure that like if let's say I go through the courts, right? The person who put this into effect is the person I'm going to be fighting against, is it not?
Judge Porter.
So if I'm doing it against the other judge, which Judge Justice, who's put it into effect, is I'm pretty sure he's the one. How am I supposed to win that when he already has all the power? Yeah, I could go to the PDM and say, hey, do you want to try to get these 2 vehicles so I can like purchase them off you? I'll do it for like a premium or whatever. Just want to own them illegally or legally.
The way you'd most likely go about is that you'd rule the law, unconstitutional, whatever, and then you would hire a lawyer, and then there would be a state lawyer appointed that would fight it, and then probably justice would be the one presiding over it. I mean, it wouldn't be you against the judge; it would be 2 lawyers and the judge.
I guess that doesn't make sense because I'm pretty sure odds are that both judges work together to create the law. I doubt it was just one judge acting alone that created the law, and then what Duck's saying, going against the judge that created the law, probably won't end up well.
I do have a question on this topic. If you bought the vehicle before they were made illegal, what happens? Can I get like reimbursed, or do I get grandfathered in, or what's going on?
I mean,
with
they
that?
were always illegal because there was no legal way of obtaining them through Mosley's or PDM or
But was it ever
Vapid.
stated
It
in
was
law?
well. It
But
was
in
never
character,
stated.
how would you know that though?
Exactly.
There's no way
I
to
mean,
prove it
well-
in court.
Well, because
Exactly.
I mean,
There's no way to prove that it's legal or illegal.
I mean,
Just-
you just
if you run the plate in it, I mean, I don't know if the plates are any different or not, but
I mean,
if
They
you
are.
run
They're
them,
just numbers.
couldn't you just RP it then?
My question is, with that law, it says any official dealership. How are cops supposed to in character prove this if someone says, "Yeah, I got it from a different state.
well,
I got
then
it from an official dealership in a different city."
well, then okay, so then that is a problem because I mean, if the armored vehicles are in the same system and coming back the same way that legal cars from PDM and Mosley's do, then there is no distinction between them. Which would I don't know how someone would do that.
I mean, if I pull somebody over in an illegal vehicle and they tell me they bought it in another state, I'm just gonna say, "All right, can I get proof?" And then they're gonna show me proof, and then I guess we go on our way.
So another question: what's stopping not a dealership from selling these? Like, why can't we set it up where one of the other illegal channels, say like a smuggling channel, gets these in to sell them?
I mean that is how they're in.
That's
They're
why
not an illegal dealer yet.
if they're just illegal, as in the law, just like your illegal weapons are illegal, unless it's proven in the court of law. Like, I can't imagine they're just going to say this type of car is banned. That don't make any sense. Like, cops just can't pull you over because you're driving this car. That's what I don't. That's what I'm missing here.
Also, just a quick question about that a vehicle containing aftermarket modifications such as weaponry that can cause damage to life and property. If the vehicle was purchased with that, it wouldn't be an aftermarket modification, would it?
Technically, it is because somebody bought the car and modified it after buying it from the market.
I mean,
which is
that's
still
true, but if they
aftermarket.
just made their own vehicle personally with that weapon on it, again, that'd be kind of hard to prove in character-wise, I would think.
How thick of metal is considered armor plated? Is the Rolls Royce considered armor plated?
What about vehicles with the armor upgraded SSS?
Well, no, this is a legitimate
think
question because I
The
thought
armor
Rolls Royces
plating is
have.
visible.
Yeah, you can see it on the vehicles that have it.
I meant like
Okay, so
in accordance to the law, I was mainly referring to.
well, that's kind of like what I was saying at the time. Like, you can see if someone has a fake hood scoop, it's still there, but someone can have fake plating. How do you test that? Like, how in RP would you say that that's actually plating?
It's like, oh my god,
I-
you got
I-
bumps on your side thing. You're
Yeah.
going to jail, pal.
I mean, I don't think
Right.
you can.
Well, it's kind of like the main argument there. If you can't, if a law enforcement officer on the side of the road can't look at it and say, this is an illegal vehicle for sure, besides just saying the make and model is illegal, how?
It's your plate. All of the plates are numbered, so they're not registered plates.
Well, that's
I
kind of
mean,
what
you
I mean.
You could
pretty sure
change
they
the
are
plate with
registered,
DS.
Okay, wait. So hold on. Wait, if they're not, if like English said, if they're not registered, that then when the police run it, it doesn't come back.
Well, that's a different law, though. That's just, failure to register.
But they are registered.
And I
by
think
the
they
person who
are
owns them,
actually.
aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah, but
yeah.
they can't scan your plate of an illegal vehicle that wasn't bought at a dealership and get your name. That's not how that works. If they want to say that these aren't officially purchased, then they can't use that against you.
What
It's
also
not officially purchased.
The way I roleplayed is I bought a Tron bike, and then I also have the black market bike that looks very similar. And I just wrote down the plate of the Tron bike, and whenever I get pulled over, I just give them that plate in RP, and they run it back, and no, it's a legal bike.
Yeah,
Even
but
though-
what's stopping anybody from like looking at the plate of that vehicle, like, hey, I'm gonna use my DS perk and change it to the plate of my baller that doesn't have armored, and bam, you're registered.
They
Done
can't.
deal.
You
can't
have to have
have-
a registered plate to be able to change it in the first place.
But it goes in a garage, so how is it not registered in the first place?
I
But,
think
like-
he's saying leadership won't change the
Look,
plate of a black
Can we
market
compare
vehicle.
this? Sorry, can we compare this in real life? Like, for example, if in real life you have a vehicle that's not registered, if someone puts a fake plate on it, unless you're breaking the law, you're not going to get pulled over unless it's reported stolen. You know what I mean? So, like, how don't we have a way to trick the law enforcement in the city that they don't see that plate, they pull us over? That's another way.
Well, I remember when the black market vehicles were added, we were told through the Discord that any vehicles with all number plates are illegal, and then you must detain and we'll grab the vehicle.
I thought the message specifically said don't use this information in character, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
You
using
don't
numbers.
technically know that they're illegal
Yeah.
vehicles.
It said don't metagame this. Which
I drove around in my armored shafter for a couple weeks, and I never got pulled over once because I just drove legitimately. But then the one time I did get pulled over, they got me with the plate. So
my bike didn't have a plate, so I just gave them the other bike's plate.
Well, a while back, I think someone's bike that they bought from the black market was going to be taken, and I think they were able to contest it and make sure it wasn't removed because they couldn't prove it, because they made the claim it was for a movie. So, I mean, I think the system definitely needs to be refined and everything, but I don't know where we would start.
If you think in the technical term, a car that's made for a movie is not street legal because it does not have a VIN and it's not registered. They're all pre-built for a movie, so they're not, unless they use
prop.
It's a prop. It's made for a prop, but unless they use an actual certain couple vehicles, which is rare, they're always not street legal.
Right. Okay. So then you would, cite them for not registering the vehicle, but you couldn't cite them for illegal vehicle for armored vehicle.
Wouldn't an easy way to solve this entire issue would be to have more players apply to be a judge? Because if I remember from a other meeting, judge applications are always open.
Well, Lance is suggesting that possibly making it a way so we do have illegal plates that we can essentially make to fake the registration on the vehicle in the way. I don't know how difficult that would be.
I'm gonna apply to be a judge now. Get some laws are rolling.
Is there a hard a path that you have to take to be a judge? Do you have to talk to one of the judges?
Okay. Actually, to comment on that, I recently reached out to somebody about a month ago about becoming a state attorney or a judge. I was told positions there. I said, okay, well, I'm really interested in it. I filled everything I had to do. And then I was ghosted. And I asked for an update. I was ghosted. Just to be clear.
Yeah, I had this conversation with a judge about back in July when I joined up, and it kind of has never developed into anything. I've approached people after the fact.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating seeing there not be
we have things in the work on that topic. We are working on that actively right now.
Oh.
Yeah,
we did see the slow motion of it, and there was a little bit of activity die down. We are working on that 100%. I don't have a link to the judge applications, but let me try to find one.
You guys want it?
Yeah, if you got it, just put it in the chat.
This is the Department of Justice application. It's not the judge, but I'm assuming it's the same thing because there's no formal judge application. Is that correct?
Yeah, no. They usually want you to go through the DOJ first.
My understanding was that you had to be you have to go through the DOJ first.
No.
You have to become
yes.
an actual lawyer first.
Well, I mean, that's the way it is supposed to work when the DOJ is active and actively working on cases, but...
So yeah, that's actually what made me triggered first, is that I applied for it, and then all these people are telling me the horror stories of only having 2 judges and no one's ever available, whatever, that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I tried. But no one, I was cut off at their end, not my end.
Could I have my 4th character have a law backstory and avoid having to go play as a couple months as a lawyer?
Why would that disenfranchises the people who have put in effort?
Well, because my only reason
They
in
do the
saying
same
this
thing
is
in cop.
because how many of the current lawyers are actively going for a judge position. Is the only reason.
Lawyers, I think.
Well, I
Trust
know.
me, there's a lot of them. And
Can I comment
What
on
what
that?
I know
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that
Abliction's going to talk on the topic because he's overseeing.
So there are a handful of lawyers and public defenders who are ready and looking to step up to the plate and take on active positions in the DOJ, such as judges. At this time, the decision of promotions to judge do fall to Chief Judge Porter, and at this time, he feels that the DOJ is sufficient with 2 judges. He has some plans for the future, and he's currently working on things to improve the Department of Justice. And at this time, we're leaving it up to him, and we're allowing him to move forward with his plans, and we're going to see where that brings us. But at this time, it does fall to Judge Porter, but do know that there are many members in the Department of Justice, many lawyers, and I'm sure even members that are not lawyers that are in other positions that are ready to move forward. They're just waiting for the opportunity to do so.
All right, that works for me then.
So is there, like, I was referring to a state attorney position, as I was referring to, because I noticed how some of the newer, I was watching a stream, and then how some of the newer police are having a trouble time with court, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help those people out. I want to be a state attorney. I never heard back ever. The judge thing was totally shut down in the beginning, but I never heard back about being a lawyer either.
So we currently have a DA. It's District Attorney McFarley. He's currently the only individual that's representing the state as a defending the state. We used to have an ADA. I don't know if you guys remember, just in case, but he did step down from his position. But at this time, we only have the DA, and promotions to the DA do fall to the judges. So once again, that does fall to the judges to make promotions to those positions. If you're interested in filling those positions, submit an application to the DOJ as a lawyer, and then express your interest in moving forward. And hopefully that the judges are able to notice you and notice that you're doing so. And
one of the things that I think would maybe resolve this a little is that we have not had any DOJ meetings whatsoever internally.
Well, we
That's
had
one thing we should in
Oh,
July,
yeah.
which was 3 months ago.
I have one thing. I need to take this with a grain of salt because this might sound mean, but it's not. When does an when does an out of character problem become an in character problem? In terms of like in the sense that.
Do you mean the other way around?
Sorry, yeah, the other way around. Like that's basically what I'm getting at.
You want to elaborate on that?
Just if some people are inactive, or at least for the time being, I can't say like how long they'll be gone, but if they're inactive and it's preventing RP in the server entirely, when does it become an out of character problem?
So if you're referring to the judges and the activity that's currently going, I can promise you, I can't give you more than this, unfortunately, right now, but I can promise you that it's being looked into by leadership, and there has been a substantial amount of discussions. All I can tell you is that progress is being made. I just can't tell you what exactly we're doing or what we will be doing.
Well, obviously, I trust you guys. I was just curious, like, if there was anything being done. I think that's all I wanted to know.
My role as emergency services manager is to step in when things are starting to fall out of line of becoming an out of character problem where individuals aren't able to successfully complete their responsibilities in their in character positions. That leads to neglection and lack of opportunity for other members of the server.
I have a question that might trigger some things. So this word is a word that will come up once every blue moon, and I don't want to make anybody upset, but there's been a lot of discussion when I'm streaming about the 4-letter word, and that's, is there going to be a wipe happening this year or in 2021 in January, or do you have any plans? I don't want you guys to make the same mistake last time where we were saying, oh, there's going to be a wipe then, or about like, are you guys planning on wiping the server soon? TM.
I wouldn't answer that question yet.
Anyone else have any questions?
I mean, soon TM could be 5 years, man. I'll just say, man.
Did
Yeah, definitely.
did somebody say something? Did somebody ask a question?
It's been
Absolutely
kind of,
not.
it's
It was
been
very.
kind
I
of
got a
silent,
question.
and I'm kind
It
of
was quite
kind of
quiet
awkward.
for a while there.
I'll give as broad of an answer as I can. It's inevitable, but a time frame will never be given.
I don't want you to give us
What
a time.
the fuck?
I don't want you to give us a time frame, but that's all I want. It's inevitable. It's good enough for me.
Did y'all just hear Donald Duck talk?
You did, yep.
I think Jeremy's brother's in
That was
town.
Duck.
I don't have a brother.
What?
What? You're Crane, though.
I don't have a brother. It's just Crane.
Shut up.
Never said it was your brother.
Cousin.
No, I don't have a cousin either.
Criminal.
I have a wife. That's it.
Distant relative.
Nope.
No, distant birdkin.
They're not
You live
connected
alone,
in
you eat
any
green
way.
beans
But they really are.
from a can.
They aren't. They just have the same first name. That's all.
I mean, but he spells it differently because, like, on the
I got that
the
changed.
roster it says
But they're both bad
Jeremy.
cops.
Anyway, let's move on.
So I got the Chamber of Commerce set up now. If you haven't seen this thread, here's the thread. I'll spam it a little bit, I guess.
Woohoo.
We're gonna set up a meeting next week. If you're interested and haven't applied, do so. There is a Discord for it. I'm just gonna put it in once. Only join it if you actually intend to participate, and yada yada. Keep in mind there's a membership due. It's a small fee. It's not like a massive amount. You don't owe me like a Lambo or anything.
The kid.
But that'll probably be.
So it's like
next week,
20K,
Monday.
right?
It's 30K.
30K.
And it's not my personal money. It's literally just for the business, so that way we can afford things such as prizes or something, some incentive down the line, just to keep out the riffraff. Pretty much, yeah, it's a union. But anyway, point being is it'll probably be next Monday. I haven't decided on a specific time of day. I'm probably gonna post like a QP or something on that server saying, "Hey, what time works best for you?" But yeah, that's going to move forward early next week. Are there any questions on that subject before we move on? Because I just wanted to kind of make that a little footnote.
What is it?
I think Waylon had a question.
The Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, like, what does it do? Like, what's
It's
the
a
point?
business development organization, so it basically serves as a bridge between the government and the player base, so that way you have an in-character way to explain or unify the business owners and the business community of the city. Do you know how a Chamber of Commerce works in real life? It's
No.
pretty much the same.
No, I don't.
So it's a collection of business interested individuals in a setting, and they're trying to cooperate on common goals. Think of it like a town hall meeting, but for business.
Okay, that makes sense.
Who else had a question, BT?
So I had a question. Not it's something else, but is there any plan to make better like criminal, like RP, like market stuff, like different drugs and stuff like that? Because I know we killed some of it, but maybe bring in other stuff or more things for the criminal side RP instead of just basically robbing banks and that's about it.
Basically, we got drugs right now.
We've been talking about this over the past couple bi-weekly meetings about like Crim RP and extending it. I think it's definitely something that's being worked on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's definitely stuff happening. I mean, they re-added the drug script, like for drugs, like specifically marijuana, I believe. I bet there probably could be more of it, but it's like basically I'm just saying that there's stuff being worked on, like it's not like being pushed under the rug or anything.
Yeah, I believe they're slowly moving out more drugs.
Yeah, I just feel like there's like not. Yeah, we have drugs, but there's not really too much to do, and it feels like everyone's stagnant. It's always the same stuff over and over again. Just get a little more stuff to do.
But do you have any suggestions?
Well,
I can tell you right now that we had a bunch of stuff about to roll up. Some of them are having issues. We're just trying to work a couple of things out, but we are currently working on implementing more stuff for people to do. But suggestions are always welcome if you have more ideas.
I have
So-
a suggestion.
Good,
Could
sir.
we potentially? I'm just gonna be honest. I've played bank robberies from both sides. I don't know. Every time I've done a bank robbery, we either get away or we get arrested, and the money isn't confiscated. So I'm not saying bank robberies
Magic
are
complaining.
hard to do, but I feel like bank robberies could be increased a little bit because I personally have seen a massive drop in people actually robbing banks as of recently. Or I get to the bank and there's nobody there.
I don't know. It's always been a thing for me that I've always disliked the whole RP from bank robberies.
It
I don't
all
know if
seems
it's just a me
formulaic.
thing or not, but anytime I've been a part of the bank robbery, like the last time I was actually a part of a bank robbery, like on the other side was with when Tram was here, and I was with like my two friends,
times.
Straybog and Trout, and that's the last time. And every time it's the same thing. It's just like back then the way it would work is we'd always have outside shooters. We didn't need to declare them or anything. So as soon as the police rolled up on scene, we would shoot them. Now it's just based off of hostages, and sometimes they're fake. And then there's some corrective action there because of the rule against fake hostages. But yeah, it's just like I feel like if this was real life, the banks would close. The banks would have either close or they would have a military worth of people at each bank because of how much this shit gets robbed. Like obviously banks get robbed IRL, but like not on the extent or the level of what happens in the server. And something I've always suggested is make the banks have a cooldown. So, there's only like one per however many days or hours or whatever, which they already do. But I'm saying make it longer. And then I feel like the RP would be more quality because people actually have to wait. And also have a person requirement. So instead of one dude, there is multiple dudes. Make the money better. Like make it so like there has to be a requirement of a certain amount of cops, and you have to have a certain amount of people in the bank robbery. So go ahead, Trey.
To comment on that, the only problem is that a day and night cycle is not like real life in this game. So like if you have a group of people who can only play on, say, Wednesdays, and you have a conflicting group of people that, live in a different country that only can play on Wednesdays, if their RP is what they want to do, they can't do that because Jim Bob in a different country just robbed the bank 20 minutes ago. They can't do it for 2 days. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like a day and night cycle in GTA is literally like minutes versus what it is in real life.
Yeah, it's
So
like
like
8
if you want to
minutes.
exactly, if you want to look at like that kind of stuff and like even the pay rate, like so you get your paycheck every 10 minutes versus an hourly in real life.
Mhm.
Like you got to really compare like marbles to marbles here. That this isn't real life, and like if we want to make it enjoyable for people, we still also have to keep that aspect in there. Like I know I can't play all the time, and like when I finally get a group of people who aren't toxic as hell to rob a bank, and they're actually kind of the best kind, by the time that happens, someone else has already robbed the bank up the hill, and I can't.
An idea to combat that would be make it so that banks aren't as easily robbable. Make it so they require maybe a second step or an item you have to go get an RP. That way, not every single random Joe can do it, but it takes a little bit of time to do it. You'll see them less, but when they come, people are obviously going to plan them out a bit more because they had to go get stuff to do it.
100%.
My issue though is, I mean, you said we'll see them less with all that. I think having more steps to do and making it difficult is better, but there have just not been a lot recently. It's like we used to have 2 to 3. If I'd be on cop for 8 hours, I'd get 2 to 3 bank robberies.
I know the payout may need to be raised because at the moment the fines outweigh the money that you get.
The risk versus reward isn't there. I feel like there should be a fine on top of it, but in reality, if you're going to rob a bank, you're risking what, $60,000 in fines because you're guaranteed armed robbery, kidnapping, and flight from law enforcement. No matter what you do, if you're robbing the bank and the police do arrive, you're getting those 3, unless you don't take a hostage. So let's just say it's armed robbery and flight. Those are some pretty hefty fines for what, $45,000?
Yeah. With that being said, I had a discussion with somebody else who's a part of law enforcement a while ago now. Like, that shouldn't always have to be the case. People should be able to get away in RP. Like, maybe if cops spent more time not lying to the people inside the bank and saying, if someone demands not to put spike strips down, don't put spike strips down. If you want to chase them all day, go ahead, but don't make it where it's so overpowered that they can't do it. Because sometimes there is only two people inside that bank, if they had a hostage or not. Whether they work together or not. I know it's kind of against the rules or whatever. Someone else claim fail RP, whatever. But you got to make it more RP than just either they get away or they get a fine. And that's kind of where I think with it.
I'm just saying, I'm 8 for 8 on getaways, so.
So it's interesting because I did like my first bank robbery a couple weeks ago, and one of the requests that people made was like no Air 1, and then later during that, Air 1 came up, and I was upset, but I talked to Legend about it and about like cops, and they're actually the reason why like cops. It's not that they're lying. Like, I believe that they actually do take your requests at first hand, but when it comes down to like how the situation goes, they might need to push against those rules a little bit. That's how he described
As somebody
it.
who's been in law enforcement, I mean, I'm not sure how Legend does it or how Legend instructs people to do it when he's on. That never happens. As far as I know, unless there's different since I've been involved there, I've always, even when I was a part of law enforcement, was told, if they say that, we're doing it anyway. Just make sure they don't hear you. And that's kind of how it's always been. Like, as much as I can remember, even with Air 1, if we say no helicopters, the helicopter at least a mile back waiting. And that's just how it's always been.
I'll say this much when it comes to the bank robberies. Whether or not the demands are met, like from the cop perspective, I personally, like, let's say I only play cop, and I'll use that to say this. If the demands are met, if they say no Air 1 and we put up Air 1, that doesn't bother me as much as the second they come out of the bank, they just get tased. When that happens, it makes me sad.
Yeah,
I
feel like police comply with a lot of demands when getting on robberies because in most cases there's not a lot of things that they can do. So, like, let's say we're rolling up and Vance is in custody, Confession's got him. He has a hostage. It's like, all right, give us the hostage. You get free passage, which means we're not going to tase you. We're not going to shoot you as long as you don't threaten the hostage or anything like that. Usually demands like no Air 1, no spikes. They'll be listened to somewhat, but that doesn't mean like we're not going to have spikes somewhere or we're not going to have Air 1 somewhere. We're just not going to have it directly on scene. So a tactic I'll do, and some of you may have seen this, is I'll get someone to go put spikes on Braddock Tunnel, which is a very far distance away, and also I'll get it deployed at the end of Zancudo Tunnel, which is also very far away, right? And I feel like I'm not haranguing their RP by doing that because they have a chance to stop. It's like, oh shit, there's a cop car up there. They got spikes. I'm going to turn around. But then that gives the cops a chance to come in and like block his exit off.
No.
But yeah, I don't think we'll ever comply with the no helicopter, no speed unit, no spikes.
Let me just turn the tables a bit because this was brought to my attention by a cop and I hadn't really thought of it before. But when you really think about it, whether you're a criminal or you're a cop, you can see how it makes a little bit of sense. But some cops feel like, and sorry for the background noise, but some cops sometimes feel like it's power gaming when they get on scene. Because they're going to arrive on the robbery, the hostage will be inside, and the demands are always the same. No spike trips, no Air 1, no speed unit, and I want all the officers on either the left or the right side. You're leaving the cops with barely no room for role play because they have to meet your demands of being on a specific side of the bank, being know this, know that. They can't deploy these, tactical advantages that they train for and they have at their disposal. So maybe if we stopped concentrating on can I have all the cops put their guns down, stuff like that, or if you guys don't put your guns down, I'm going to kill the hostage. Like, you're really putting the cops in a position of, I have no room for role play if I don't disobey some of these demands, because It just overall feels like an area of power gaming. And if you think about it, these demands of no spike strips, no Air 1, they're very small. They're not going to get you anywhere whether or not cops go by it. If you say no Air 1, okay, sure, you're going to get in a way in a pursuit. But if we're being honest here, Air 1 sure will help, but typically, unless you're in a car that goes 300 and we won't even bother chasing you, the odds of you losing the police are slim.
Yeah, but that's the issue. If the odds are slim, why do the police get so mad that they don't want a chopper on scene? And with the spike strips, they've put it right behind people's vehicles' tires before, so it's not like they put it down the road or around the corner. They put it right up under your wheels, so the second you get in, you're done.
And that's what I mean.
Can I?
Can I just finish quickly, and then I'll let whoever say their part here. But there are other ways to roleplay than just the same repetitive robbery. The one thing that annoys most cops in the city, and I can tell you a lot of the higher ups, is the fact that we're going to roll up on a robbery and you got your Lamborghini in the front and you're ready to run. A, it's not very intelligent. We'll run the plates on that, or we'll figure out whose car it is, and boom, we know it's you. You got a warrant if you escape. And B, it's also not fun. I can tell you right now that robberies where I'm involved, Clarkson's involved, Jones is involved, and I'd hope most of command staff, if you have a vehicle that's not going to go 300 miles per hour, so to say maybe either a vapid car or a lower end car from PDM that maybe doesn't have any plates on it, something that isn't going to go 200 to 300 miles an hour, you're going to get chased, and it's not going to be a toxic pursuit where we feel the need to end it like that. The reason that we deploy an air unit or a speed unit when you typically do a robbery is because we know that we're going to have about 1 minute or 45 seconds to stop or catch you, or you're gone, especially if you're on a motorcycle. Because our cars, most of them, I think there's 2 that are not, are set to realistic speeds, which means that our car will accelerate faster than what a realistic car would go. Some of the cars on the server go extremely faster than our cop cars, go up to 200 or 300 miles per hour. Even the speed unit cannot go up to 200 miles an hour, at least I don't think.
Yeah,
But
top out at 235 downhill. That's the fastest I've ever gotten it to.
And it all depends, obviously, on bumps in the road. You guys know you guys can make your car go faster if you hit the right things. I don't know how that stuff works, but I know some people do. But if you start your robbery and you really think it through, all right, I'm gonna get this lower end car because I know the cop's gonna see that and they're like, oh look, we could get some proper role play, a long proper pursuit. Maybe you'll even get away. They're not gonna feel the need to deploy a speed unit. Following our protocols, if your car isn't going to go 200 or 300 miles per hour, if we're not going to put a speed unit, there's no point for it. It's not going to follow protocol. You don't have to worry about a speed unit. If there's no reason for an air unit, we're not going to waste our manpower and put a bird in the air. Because keep in mind, anytime we put a helicopter, we're usually taking 1 or 2 cars off the street. So if you put a normal car that isn't going to go that fast, you're not going to have to worry about speed units or helicopters, and we're not going to spike strip your car unless, unfortunately, you have a cop who's not really there to role play. And if you have that, it's unfortunate. I'd love to know who it is, but we're going to want to entertain your pursuit and have some fun. At the end of the day, we're all here to role play. And instead of just having a hostage inside that sits on his knees and you guys threaten him at every 2 seconds when we don't meet your demands within 30 seconds, think of another way to get out of there. I had one pursuit where I don't even think they had a hostage, but I don't remember if they had a hostage elsewhere, but they got out and they juked us by pulling into somewhere. It was actually Alex here who had his motorcycle behind a building that we couldn't get through with our cars. They got on foot, they got on their bikes, they were gone. But there are plenty of ways to think of how you're going to escape the building and how you're going to get out. That doesn't always have to be just fast car, move, hostage, we throw in or they die. Well, sure, you can have a hostage, but they could be at a different place. Or you don't pose a threat. There's no reason for you to get tased or shot. There's plenty of ways to think about the role play. You can watch videos. You can watch other role play. You can talk to other people, figure things out. Maybe you get more people on the outside and you say, hey, you see that guy across the street. He's being held at gunpoint. If you guys approach him, he might get shot. There's plenty of things that you can do. You don't even have to have some guy who knows he's a hostage. You say, hey, that guy sitting on the bench right there? I have someone outside who, will take him out if you guys approach him or shoot us. I want the money, then we're gone, and he's not going to get hurt. There's plenty of opportunities and venues for role play. It just has to be figured out. Same thing from the cops. I can tell you right now that I have countless conversations with my deputies and even other officers on how we can change up the role play and make it better. We have to give 50-50. The criminals have to give 50, the cops have to give 50. It can't be, just the criminals give 50 and the cops give 0, or the cops give 50 and the criminals give 0. If we don't give an equal amount of work from both sides, we're not going to get that improvement in the role play that we're looking to get. We just have to be ready to take the step together. It's going to take some work, but if we think of different ways of approaching our role play and interacting with others, I can guarantee that we're all going to have a more enjoyable time when committing these crimes or when interacting with police or criminals, vice versa.
I have one question about this is going to be kind of long, but I have a couple things about bank robbery. I want to start off with saying, on the rare occasions that I am playing cop as of recently, I do like to be seen commit bank robberies, and my main goal in the bank robbery is to guarantee that the robbers get out of the bank's vicinity in their vehicle, right? Because I want the chase, and I assume most people are robbing banks to get away in a chase, right? And I know we do have Rex here who used to rob banks very often. I guess my main question would be, or not question, but concern is, after a bank robbery ends, people going to each other and saying like, it's kind of toxic what happened, because I know there have been multiple bank robberies where I'd help on the outside by simply moving a semi-truck in the freeway and blocking off some lanes, and then the car gets through, and then you move the semi-truck up a bit, or you would divert the cops with a vehicle of some sorts. And the most realistic being, the people leave the bank on a sports bike. I mean, if you've seen any like movies, it's going to be an above average speed car, not like a super car, but above average speed, maybe like a souped up BMW or something, or a fast sport bike, so you can swerve in and out of traffic to get away from the police, right? I think the main reason people rob banks is for the pursuit, and tell me if I'm wrong there. I think we should definitely let people get to that point, though. And I've seen it way too often where people just get tased the second they get out of the bank. It's not every single time, but it's more often than I'd like.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% on what you just said. I just want to comment something a little while ago in chat. The cops' point is to catch us, yes. But if you want to compare this apples to apples, real life, how many exits are in a real bank?
Yeah, there's more than one.
Where people can leave. How many windows? How many different ways you want to dress up as an employee? Anything to walk out without metagaming where you can get away in real life. But let's put that in perspective for a second. There's so many other ways to get out, but in GTA, we have to walk out through the door where you people already are. By no other means that a game mechanic told you we're there. That's what you have to think about. Yeah, your job is to stop us, but that's it. Like that's the point. It's not real life. So like there has to be a little, not leniency there, but just a way that you understand that you're there because a game mechanic told you, and we have no other way out. And I'm not saying all demands should be met. No. What I'm saying is that it has to be a conversation. Like, I know it must be toxic to hear the same baloney every single time. And I don't want to do that. I wouldn't want someone else to do that. I hate that. Even our opinion as a medic, like you get the same dumb people run into a wall, dying or dehydrating. It just sucks, right? You don't want to deal with that all the time. But at the end of the day, like you got to go there and still have that conversation. But you can't. I don't know. You can't take it out on the person inside because they didn't rob the bank 20 minutes ago. It was the other person. And that's kind of like where we see the issues of people, being toxic towards those people inside or putting spike chips underneath the tires. I think people just go so sick of it, they take it out on the people inside. And it kind of sucks, but that's just a fact. And that happens in real life too with real officers. I'm sure that, if something really bad happens the day before that same shift, maybe they take it out on people. I'm sure that happens. But like some people only have an hour to play. They don't want that hour ruined because, this bank scene they tried to get people for 2 hours straight finally came together just for a cop to put pike strip underneath their vapid car and fuck them over. So that's just how I think about it.
That whole thing, like people putting spikes under your car, that shouldn't happen. Ever.
I agree.
I'd personally love to know who Ink was talking about then, so we can give that person, whoever it
It's
is,
happened when I robbed the bank too.
corrective
Absolutely.
action needs to
When
be
I
taken there.
when I always suggest putting spike strips, I usually will spike half of the roadways out. I'll spike like one direction, like north or south, and the other direction is where you have the vehicles who are pursuit ready. You get the pursuit ready vehicles heading north, and if they go south, you don't want vehicles pointed every single direction, right? That just doesn't make sense. You have some vehicles pointed in the direction they can go, and you make it so they cannot go the other direction. If they choose the wrong one, they get spiked, and yeah, that can be a little toxic from their end, but there was a way they could go the other way. Spiking every exit or blocking every exit, I don't like.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. And even if, like, you set up, far down the road, you block off both ends of the highway. But that wouldn't bother me at all. Like, I'm either going to plow through that, hit the spikes, or I'm going to turn around and try to evade the other cops. And that's even more RP than, 6 cars surrounding you and beating the bumper off your fucking Vapid car. That drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that makes me want to get out with my gun and kill you all. That's just fact.
And all the things I'm saying are from the perspective of somebody who doesn't rob banks, and I would love somebody who actively robs banks, not on not on their main character is what I'm gonna say. If they're robbing banks on their main character, I would love for you to speak up and tell me your things, because I don't think we have a lot of people talking about this who actively rob banks on their main character as a main form of RP that they do.
I can make a promise to you guys that the problem of bank robberies is recognized. The supervisors of all agencies had a meeting to discuss the future of the departments, and I can tell you that it is an issue that we recognize as an active problem. It is being looked at, and we do have plans moving forward to I want to use the right word here, but rework and remake the training and how officers are trained to handle bank robberies, pursuits, things of such, to make it an environment where everybody is having fun and where everybody, at least on our side, where it's better for criminals and police alike. I'm telling you, there's going to be results. It takes time. Everything takes time. We're doing our best, get it done as soon as we can. In exchange, let's look on the criminal side as well and see what we can do on that regards to make it better. So I can tell you right now, the police side is going to make some improvements. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next week. Might not be next month. It's coming. We're working on it. It'll be better. It'll be more enjoyable for you guys. But let's try to do the same, get a 50-50. And I can promise you that if we do that collectively, the environment for robberies will be a lot better for everybody.
Could you give us an example of something?
Officers get 0 training for robberies.
No, I'm talking about, give us an example for the crim side that you would like to see. Just anything off the
I can
top
tell
of
you
your
what
head.
I've done.
Okay.
So this was a robbery. I don't remember when. I'm going to mix it with a few things I've seen. So I forget exactly how we got out of the bank. But to get away, we ended up going through a few side streets where we had do you guys know the Benson? It's the big box truck. You guys know what that is? We had a Benson parked with the back open. And I'm sure you guys remember, I don't know if some of you have played the actual campaign.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
So we had 2 motorcycles. I think it was Sanchez that went in the back. We closed it. We drove, instantly closed the back and drove, kept driving. And we had 4 cops zoom past us code 3. Obviously, we all got away. You got to think of innovative ways to get away that the cops won't be expecting. We expect you to get in your car and drive off in fast speeds. So try to think on, how can I outsmart the police? How can I play a card that they have not seen before that they're going to go, holy geez, I didn't see that one coming. Shooting the police and running away isn't always saying, yeah, you might shoot the first cop behind you, but we all know you're going to have another 8 coming right behind you after that. But maybe what you could do is, and this is just an idea, I mean, you could work off this and do something different, is do what I did earlier. Instead of concentrating on who am I going to have inside the bank on their knees with the gun out, is how can I use the outside world and force the police's hand to where I'm not telling them how to role play, but I'm giving them a little I can't talk. You guys know the word I'm looking for here. Innovative way to handle the situation. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I said, you take a picture of someone, right? You place them somewhere on the map, maybe a warehouse. You take a picture of them with a gun to their head, but you give some hints in the picture. Maybe you give a window that shows the exterior, something for the police to work off of, and you have like an immigrant link or something. You put that on a notepad at the door, and then you rob the bank. And when the police arrive, you tell them, hey, we have a picture, take a look at it. You give them the picture, and you say, listen, this is how it's going to go. You guys let us go. We'll give you an anonymous 911 call 5 minutes from now, and we'll tell you where he or she is. But, if you guys try to shoot us or take us out when we walk out of this bank, we have guys outside who have orders to take this person out. You're forcing the cops now have many options. You're not power gaming them, but they're forced to cooperate. They can A, just sit there and say, all right, well, they'll be free to go. We don't have to worry about her. Or B, start analyzing the picture, trying to figure out where this person is and trying to get to them before you get out. And then you rob the bank, you get away or whatever, and then you just release them, send them 911 call of where this person is, and the guy who was guarding her can leave. Or, maybe the cops will decide to actually find her, and then the whole role play can change into an investigation where they're trying to locate where this person's hidden. If you don't like that, you have maybe instead of just having the one hostage, you have 3 hostages. And instead of doing the same negotiations, you make it a bit more interesting. You say, hey, we didn't want to do this. We weren't supposed to get caught. We're not trying to hurt anyone. Just, let us grab our money and we'll give you a hostage. All right, now you got 2 left. You say, listen, we got to get out of here. I want I don't know, I want a car with 50,000 in the back, and you actually start negotiating. This could last 2 or 3 hours. You make something interesting. You give the cops role play something they don't usually see. Robberies don't have to last 5 minutes. You're going to say, well, it's not worth more of my time if I'm only going to make 50,000 or whatever you get from robbing a bank. But you can make the cops give you more. You can make demands for money. You can make a ransom demand. You can, expand in what you're doing, and there's so many avenues like that. I don't know if I should have told you guys the one about the note because I wanted to do that one and see what the cops would do, but someone could do that, and maybe I'll participate as a cop, and it'd be fun to see what types of role play avenue we can explore by having these different opportunities and these different scenarios that haven't been seen before. Don't do the same repetitive stuff. The cops have had hours upon hours upon hours of practicing it. Make it different, make it cool, make it a different, scenario that hasn't been seen before, and the reaction and the outcome might be something you weren't expecting. All you want to see is a variety and a diversity in the calls we're responding to. If it's not the same thing, the cops won't know how to react, and the cops won't always know what they should be doing. So, make it fun, make it different, and I can promise you results.
Just to end off this entire topic, I just want to say a couple things that I've done for our robberies, just so that people get some ideas. One scenario we had no hostage inside. We were in the bank in the middle of the town. We had a bunch of people outside with limos. We pretty much waited for the cops to show up. They showed up, set up on scene. Once we had the money, we rolled up with our probably about 4 or 5 limos, boxed the cops in, got out with our guns out, and we told them to surrender. Then we walked out and left while we had them at gunpoint, so they couldn't come chase us, and we dipped. Another scenario is I got a bunch of people. We all ran inside the bank. Once we had the money, we all grouped up, scattered, so they really couldn't figure out who had what, and there was probably about 10, 15 people running with their hands up, so we knew they weren't going to shoot because we had our hands up, but we also drove away in shitbox cars. Another idea is we had one of those lifted mules, the box trucks. We backed it up to the side door of the Pacific Standard Bank. We put a little panto on the inside that was souped up. And then pretty much once we were ready to leave, we got into the panto in the back of the box truck. drove the box truck away, and then dipped out the back with the Panto. And they were like, "Oh shit, okay, it's just a box truck. We'll chase that." And then once we turn the corner, the souped-up car jumps out of the back, the little Issy, and we flew off that way. There's tons of ideas to do. Those were just a few that we've done.
So I have a request, and it's not about this. Completely off topic. So I've been thinking, last week I had a thought about something that could increase the amount of realism in a server. And sorry, Doc. So what would leadership's thought would what would leadership think about making the time in the server to real time? Don't change anything else, right? Just the time. So let's say it's 8 a.m. in the morning for EST, right? It's starting to be morning in the server. How would we feel about that? And then when it goes night, so 6, 8, 10 hours later, it starts to get dark, and you would see that in the server. I remember playing on a few servers with DayZ where that was the case, and it increased my immersion tenfold, because it's not like you're having a day cycle every 5 minutes or however long it is. Days don't last 48 minutes. It actually lasts real time.
I think the problem with that is that if you only have, a 2-hour slot, every day, okay, I can play from 7 to 9 p.m. Then you're not ever going to see it at the nighttime, maybe. Or maybe you're in a different time zone, and it's only going to be the daytime.
What's wrong with that?
I would find that super unfun.
The day and night cycle.
Yeah, we people never see the light of day.
I'll never see
adds and changes up the IP. So I think
I play in the evening, so it's never going to be light.
Hold on. So I think that if you just restrict, to one, cycle every day, you're going to lose a lot of potential IP, and a lot of people will not be happy with the fact that they're stuck in one thing.
So explain to me how you're going to lose RP from that, from just the time of day.
Some people depend on nighttime or daytime for scenes or pictures or things that they're looking to do. Who am I to tell someone that, hey, just because you live in this part of the world, you're not going to have the opportunity to do this role play or this picture scene or this race that you want to do at night just because you live in this specific time zone? I don't think that's fair to everybody. It's someone who lives in the correct time zone and, is on at different parts of the day. Sure, it works for them. But I don't think it's fair for us to tell someone that they don't have the opportunity to participate, during a nighttime. Maybe they want to take these pictures, but they're only on at night because of their time zone or because of their rules at home, whatever it is. But now they can't ever be on when there's actual daytime and they need daytime to take the pictures they want to take, this or that. I just don't think it's fair to them.
Well, what would you be opposed of making the day and night cycle a little bit longer than 48 minutes? So instead of 48, it's double or triple. So yeah, you'll see different times of day. Like let's say in a 2-hour slot, you'll see daytime and nighttime. Let's say two times. Like what would be wrong? Because right now I just don't like the way it's like, okay, I'm playing, it's daytime, it's nighttime, it's daytime, it's raining. Like I want longer periods of night and day, because I feel like that adds more realism and more enjoyment for myself.
Well, I think actually having more weather more often would be better than having day and night be longer. I think
as
far
weird as
too
it's
long,
gonna be,
it is only,
defaults.
it is
I
only
agree
day
with him.
and sunny.
Especially considering the only realistically, it's almost like you have to. I shouldn't say it's almost like you have to ask. It's almost like you have to beg for any sort of weather changes. Man,
if it's raining, I'm online.
Fog is so fun,
Yeah.
and it's like randomly happens every couple of days, and that's it. And it's like
every month.
It would be so.
It's because we set it ourselves. The server doesn't automatically switch time.
I know, I understand that, but I'm telling you right now, it's underused.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we can talk about, and
I don't even know if it's possible to make it cycle like that. If it is, I'd be 100% down for.
It was like that at one point. Like it was raining every 5 seconds. Like that's why it swapped to that. If I remember correctly, where it was like, all right, you're on. It's raining. It's not raining. It's raining, and everyone was like, oh my god, turn off the fucking rain. And I remember having that like thought process there, but I feel like it would be a lot funner for everybody involved if we definitely had some more weather. If that's what everybody wants, because I love, like, when I got on my patrol yesterday, it was raining. I'm like, hell yeah. I love rain.
I know back then the rain was a big issue because we We didn't really have any limitations, or we didn't really optimize anything. We just had a bunch of really high texture cars. But if it's something we can do, I definitely love that. I love I usually when I'm on, I either make it rain or some type of weather, just because I love having the different feel. I know the fog. Some people don't like the fog, but I love the fog.
I think that people who are just speeding along don't like the fog, and that's just maybe my own perception of how people act around it.
Oh, dude, real life, I like driving through fog. It's interesting.
I love the thunderstorms.
Are you insane?
I hate driving in the rain.
I hate not in the rain. I like driving in the rain.
I like the fog. I hate the rain.
Fog, definitely not
So
the fog.
you got to see it from my perspective. I'm just getting ready to start doing like amateur like rally driving, so that like unknown you may not know what's around the corner depending on how fast you're going. This or that, it doesn't bug me. I actually enjoy it. Slightly crazy, so that's probably why.
Yeah, it sounds kind of based.
Just loud music driving the fog, I'm good. Now, like when it's like really sketchy fog, like you cut it with a butter knife, yeah. But if you got that good soft fog that you can see a little ways out, but still doing highway speeds on the highway in it, it's kind of like you never know. Deer might jump out in front of you. You never know.
Yeah, don't do that in Newfoundland. You'll die.
Yeah,
Moose are a real problem.
Huge.
Big
Moose inland.
million-ton animals that will wreck you and your car.
No, sounds like a fucking feral hog.
While you're talking, Waylon, I want to get your suggestions that you had earlier, because I know you were saying something before we got into the big spiel.
Cool.
So, I'm curious on possibly like I see this on other servers. Actually, mainly I'm gonna bring it up mainly NoPixel because they have decent stuff that I find might add to RP, at least for the criminal side. Doing like the gas station like drawer robs that you actually have to unlock something, so it takes a little bit of skill and a little time to find. I can find a clip for you if it might make a little more context, but it's pretty much like you got to crack a safe or a drawer lock, and you have to go a certain way, and you'll hear an audible click where you need to be. The power plant's like that, but in the sense of like little smaller things that people can get like a little bit of money here and there, and it's normally a quick, easy in and out. It still alerts the police, but it takes a little bit to do that.
Make the money clean as well. The banks or those like little safes shouldn't have dirty money in it. That doesn't make any sense. Just because it's a criminal, you're kind of hindering at that.
Can I make a small touch base on that thing? Dirty money currently is completely useless. That is all.
You can clean.
Where that's the problem. Most people don't know where to clean. That's the problem. Last time I knew, you still couldn't. It was useless.
I see.
But like possibly like adding like a jewelry store robbery, like other things to rob besides the bank. Maybe doing like the bank vault, like the big bank that's on like on the road, but it's a
Civic Standard.
Actually, yeah, you do the big vault. 3 actually have to use like thermite or something to get through, so it takes some time and some skill type deal. Maybe change it up than just a normal plain Jane bank robbery, something a little different.
So a bit more smaller jobs that require a little more skill. So like some lock picking, as Crane or Jeremy Duck said, like smash and grabs, but you have to lock pick stuff, or breaking into somewhere you have to just some skill checks involved. So it feels like you actually have to do something to rob it.
Yeah, because like you can walk up and now I know we're starting to get cards for banks, but that's just to re-hit the bank again or in a different way. Maybe having certain banks possibly give you a chance of getting a card that you can only use at a certain bank to hit that bank type deal. So it takes a little work to be able to rob the banks that pay out more, but you have to rob the smaller banks to get certain cards to rob the bigger banks to get more money type deal. Instead of having a card that I've had people hit the bank once and then use that card and hit the bank again type deal. Just have it so where you hit the smaller banks to get the key cards to rob the bigger banks.
Do you guys want to know how it works in NoPixel just to rob an armored truck?
Go ahead. I've never played.
All right, so basically, I play on NoPixel. I'm sure some of you guys know, but like, so yeah, if I steal an armored truck, I need a black key card to get in. Once I use that key card to open the back doors, 4 guards, NPC with full armor and automatic weapons jump out, and then you have to kill them. But as soon as you swipe that card, it alerts the police. And because you killed those guards, if you get past that point, the police are allowed to kill on site because you killed officers or some kind of law enforcement. But that's pretty much how it works. The style of robbing something or taking something is also accompanied by an NPC. So it's not as easy to take something as somebody might think it would be. It's actually harder.
Well, to add to that is, but so what we don't have that they have is they have Oxy. They can that either side has some sort that they can quickly help health and regen some health, so they can practically have a longer fight and a little more RP instead of we go down. We may have bandages or a med kit we can heal up with.
Joints give health and armor.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys typically have that. You guys are just not using it properly. So if you carry Narcan and joints with you, essentially, if I got into a firefight, smoked a joint, used a Narcan, I'm good to go.
Well,
I think the only difference between the Oxy and the weed that we have, I'm not sure if they've changed it, but I was under the assumption that smoking a joint locks your character in animation, whereas popping Oxy and the No Pixel
You can
server,
you run and
still,
go.
yeah, you can still run around.
Yeah, you can run around still with the Oxy.
Yeah,
but I figure maybe possibly adding something to that, and then adding something that's quote legal for PD to use for health, because I forget what the PD has in No Pixel, but they have something that they can use on the go too for health when they're in a firefight, stuff like that.
Probably some kind of stimulant, like a regenerative stim. But yeah, I'd love to see something where, like, this skill thing, where it's like before we had smash and grabs. I'm sure Summer remembers that, and like it'd be cool that we had some kind of lock picking system, something that is like the house lock picking system, where you go in and like maybe there's like a dude there who, like, as soon as you enter the back room, he calls the cops. But like you could go in, maybe hold him up at gunpoint, and the other dude goes in and lockpicks the safe, and you get an extra, like, I don't know, however long to before he calls the cops, right? Before he presses some kind of panic button or whatever. So like it could be a 2-man job where one dude's holding up the cashier with a gun so he doesn't call the cops, right? And we're assuming there's nobody else in there. And the other dude who's got lockpicks on him goes in and starts lockpicking the safe. And then as soon as the safe opens, then the cops are alerted regardless, or the cashier has a chance to, at gunpoint, like press some kind of button, like some kind of foot pedal or whatever RP way you can make it up. But I think that would both implement realism, team play, and enjoyment for criminal RP. And also, you could have some kind of fingerprint thing. It's like, hey, I see some fingerprints on this safe. Boom, you got RP for the cops too.
So one thing that I've actually experienced in a couple other servers that I've played in for GTA RP before finding eGO was when you join the server, you're not allowed, like, even if you know everything that's happening, you know how to do everything, you're not technically allowed to do, like, I can't just join the server, get a gun license, grab a pistol, rob a bank, you know? But
That's how
not,
it is here too, where like you can't immediately be like a big
huge
time
criminal, right?
Yeah.
But basically, the low crimes that you could do in those servers was you could rob houses, and it would be like an NPC house. And you basically walk up to the front door, you use a lockpick, and then I'm sure if anyone's played Skyrim, you know the lockpicking animation, little fucking mini game you have to play.
Yeah.
You play that little mini game, you get through the door, and then you get stuff, right? So I was fairly new to GTA RP. I didn't really know much. Some guy was like, "Hey, if you rob a bunch of houses and you get me Rolexes, if you get me, 20 Rolexes or something, and I'll buy them from you for a little bit more than you can sell them at the pawn shop, I'll let you know how to do this next thing to your criminal career, right?" So basically, then he taught me, okay, if you get these bank cards from doing an Oxy run, you can rob an armored car. If you rob an armored car, you can get these other cards, and I'll buy the other cards from you. Didn't tell me what they're for. But the entire time I was like, okay, I'm going to help this guy out and, keep giving him stuff, and he's going to keep telling me more information. It was a lot of fun to kind of figure everything out organically. But basically, it was a rule that before you could do anything, you had to create sort of a reputation for your character. Otherwise, no one would help you. Like, I'm not going to walk up to one of the biggest criminals in the city and be like, "Hey, man, sell me some drugs." they're just not going to do it, or I'm going to get beat up or shot or something, right? And I think that's kind of what we're lacking is, you come in the city and the first thing I hear anyone ask me is, what jobs pays the most? How do I rob a bank? Where do I get guns? Who do I ask for drugs? Like, so on and so forth.
It's kind of like that. Also, a big shout out to Lance Vance because I play Big Spooky in Edge Gamers, and I don't have a job. I don't make any money. I don't do anything. I just sit there and stand on my block and do whatever the fuck I want. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but like I started RPing with Lance Vance, and I play the same RP, and Lance was like, "Yo, you know what? Let me get you a gun because I don't have a gun connect." So he goes and he gets me a gun, and then somebody else is like, "Hey, you don't work, IRP with them, let me get you a car." And I'm gonna tell you right now, Big Spooky has like $250,000, a crap load of cars, and a bucket full of guns. I have no job. I don't make any money. I don't even do any drugs. It's all RP. It's all about the RP.
Good shit. Good shit.
I mean, because like I don't know if any of you cops have interacted with my character, Big Spooky. We go in there and like I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one on my block. But yes, if you come on my block, I'll protect my block. If you come on my block, I'm gonna hit you up. If I catch you on the north side, because I've theoretically mentally made it north side and south side, and I'm pretty sure all you cops hate my ass because all you guys hate my ass because I created the Citizens on Patrol program where I confuse the shit out of you guys, where I tell you I'm a cop, but I'm not a cop. So I think
you confused some people with that the other day.
Yeah. I was doing it on purpose. It's basically because you guys are like, "No, you're impersonating a cop." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm Citizens on Patrol. I'm telling you right now, I'm not a cop. Like, I'm not a police officer, but I'm a cop." And it was funny because whoever plays Conan Clarkson, sorry if I don't know all you guys' name, that guy.
You're thinking No Pixel on that name.
No, or whoever plays Clarkson here.
Legend.
That's Legend, the CEO.
Okay, so Legend, he's funny. He actually catches me in a cop car at not PDM, at MRPD, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Holmes, I'm doing this joint operation, blah blah blah." Cops and police officers, tell me what you think about that. He's like, "Oh, cool. Let me get you something." And he pulls out like this little rink-a-dink, like, I don't know, this little smart car looking car. So we kind of laughed at it. Then he pulls out a security car, and I'm like, "All right, cool. Let's role play with that." So we put on like some little cop outfits, and then the cops pulled us over. And the whole RP was trying basically like pressing my side versus the police department's legal side. Basically, all my thing is RP. Like you can literally get anything from the RP in this server. It's just, I don't know, it's incredible. But yeah, there's some like great RPers in this server, and I guess my point is that if you RP it, you can pretty much get whatever you want.
I just find there's some people that don't go in depth on the RP and they just want to do straight to the bank robberies or straight to criminal stuff, and they don't throw an extra RP sense into it. They're just more. I've run into people that just want money. They don't really care about the RP. They like to chase, but they get the cars that outrun us instantly. So they kind of take most of the RP away from us. I liked it when people actually ran it in 10 minutes into a chase, didn't start shooting at you for no reason. It's one thing I miss.
You know what was a good one was I got a question because this one was kind of sketch. I believe that all the RP, because I'm not much of a complainer on that servers. I feel all RP is just like whatever. Some people lack it, some people suck at it, and some people are good at it. The only bad issue I had with the RP was we got in an issue with a cop. Basically, we had an issue with some guy. Excuse me, I'm not trying to like sound offensive, but we called him White Boy because he was dressed in white. He was dressed in all white, and he looked like an old mobster.
I'm offended.
He was snitching on us, on my crew, because I acquired a crew that day. He was snitching on us to the cops. So one of our guys went up to him and said, "Hey, fuck snitches, blah blah blah." And the cop gave chase. It was fantastic. Like gave him a little chase. We had a little shootout. I got killed. Some other guy got killed. It was fun. And theoretically, we should have got away with that scene. But the EMS was like their own gang, and they had guns too, and they came up shooting too. And then like another van showed up, and I think he was shooting from the rear. And I was like, where did all these people come from? how does like is that counts in the RP situation when different factions like that roll up?
So pretty much, they should inject themselves legitimately. So they got to roll up. They have to introduce themselves before they just roll up and start shooting if they weren't originally part of it. So I'm not just gonna see a shooting happen and go up and then just gun everyone down because I was walking down the street and saw a shooting. Know what I mean? If they weren't part of it, then they need to make themselves part of it before they just start shooting.
Yeah, because we got shot down by EMS gang, and I was like, what? There's a straight up EMS gang. Oh yeah, and by the way, like whoever like jailed me that day, because actually they must have thought I was an NPC because they left my ass on the street. But whoever jailed me after that situation, I mean, big props to that guy because that guy was RPing the shit out of it, and I didn't get jailed for like half an hour to 45 minutes. I was talking to this guy so damn much. And guess what? I got like the lowest jail sentence on attempted murder.
All right,
And
I hate to interrupt, but we are gonna wrap it up here.
okay.
So if anyone does have any outstanding topics, just make sure you write them down. Keep a note for next time. That way you don't forget. And there will be another one in 2 weeks. I'll probably forget to make a post for another 5 days, but you'll see one eventually of the date and the time. It'll be a Wednesday at 7 p.m. as always. But thank you everyone for coming out, and I loved all the ideas and the talk and the suggestions, and we always appreciate it.
I'd love to see that smash and grab thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that would make it a lot more fun.
But anyway, everyone have a good one.
See ya.
If you guys were promoted, go to General 1, please. Or GTA
Yeah, you
General 1.
heathens. Underlay.
He's gonna train your ass.
Imagine. I think I got a G, right?
Hey, Waylon, I would maybe go see if you could go knock it out at the same time if you wanted to.
I'm playing.
Fuck Waylon.
Hey. Bandbot 9000 sucks. That's outdated. You need the 11,000 model.
9,000.
These German spammers were in the TeamSpeak this morning when I finally got out of my coma. And I was going to ban them with the reason dump cough, but they ended up being like actual people. Just douchebag in German.
You still should have done it though.
Nah, they were here playing games.
They usually hang
kept,
out in General Gaming 1 to blast music.
They kept hopping channels, which is why I was worried about it.
How'd everyone like the story at the start?
It was okay.
I wasn't here.
Yikes.
Oh, I have to stop the recording.